space treaty.
Let's go to Bill in West Hartford, Connecticut, the amateur astronomer. Bill, go ahead.
Yes, thank you, George. David, let me get right to it. I have two questions. Let me ask them both at the same time. The first one on Donald Trump and the SLS and the first Orion mission to orbit the moon, and the second one on the Europa Clipper mission and the lack of a lander. Question number one, on SLS Orion, the Trump administration started a study with NASA that should come to fruition in the next week or two about possibly having two astronauts on the first SLS Orion moon orbit mission, which would make it in late 2019 instead of late 2018 if there are two astronauts. Do you think that will happen? Question number two, on a Europa Clipper, Texas Congressman John Culbertson, I had thought a year or two ago, mandated a lander on that mission, but the Trump administration did not fund a lander. Even though it funded Europa Clipper, there's not going to be a lander on it. What is the chances of somehow that being overturned and having a lander on the Europa Clipper mission to orbit Jupiter and fly by the moon Europa 45 times?
Oh, okay. So first of all, 12 days after the SLS announcement, SpaceX announced that they're going to fly two paying customers to orbit the moon. So that's pretty coincidental, don't you think?
Yeah.
And they're going to do it in a Falcon Heavy for a lot less money. And they claim they're going to do it next year, but that time schedule will slip. Do I think it's wise to put two people on an SLS, assuming all of this is real and can happen? I would probably be a little bit more risk averse than that. I'd rather see more testing of the rocket before putting two people on it, especially since this is being funded at taxpayer expense. But on the other hand, we flew the space shuttle with people right away, and we didn't do adequate testing ahead of time on the Saturn V because we had a national security interest in both of those things, and they worked out okay. So I have mixed emotions about putting people on it. I hope SpaceX can do their orbiting mission around the moon, but there are legal and policy issues there too, and there are regulations from the Commercial Space Act of 2004 that set up the regimen for regulating spaceflight participants, which those two people would be. So none of this stuff is black and white and is very easy to decipher at this point of time. I am glad there is interest in doing this, and I would love to see at least one of these opportunities come to fruition, even if the timeline slips.
We will come back with final calls in just a moment on Coast to Coast AM.